Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining in this webinar of BDRSuite to back up your Proxmox VMs. So I see a lot of new attendees joining in to be on spot. Let me introduce myself. I am Pranav from the product management team of Vembu. And with me, I do have Ernest on the other side as my co-host, who has been handling the sessions and the QA session for you. Now, without much further ado, I'll just run into the major basics of the session. To point on with, there are some ground rules that we are going to follow. One, the major thing is this is going to be the attendees will be in a listen only mode. And further to that, if you have any questions, you can just raise your questions in the QA box that is on the side of your console. So raising your questions over there, my team on the other side will be able to answer that. And if you're not able to answer those questions on time, maybe like we'll be sending you an email with the further details. There, I could see there are a lot of new attendees for the Proxmox backup. So welcome all once again and to the webinar on Proxmox VM backup with BDRSuite. So, being said that, we're going to discuss more about how we are going to take a backup of your environment of Proxmox with BDRSuite. So on that note, this is the agenda that you're going to see here. We'll be discussing about how to work on that to take a backup efficiently, and then we'll be discussing some of the key features for data protection of virtual environments and a step-by-step guide. Obviously, I'll be directly jumping into the console to give you an understanding over that. And we'll also be discussing about the recovery options that we have for Proxmox backups. And then there is a QA session, as I said. If we have time, we'll be discussing about the questions that you have raised in this webinar. Fine. Keeping the agenda on the side, since I see a lot of new attendees joining in, let me give you a small introduction about what Vembu is. Now, Vembu is one of the backup and disaster recovery software vendor in the data protection market, and we have been in this business for more than 2 decades with our footsteps in 100 plus countries, and we have a partner base around 4,000 plus around the globe. And to the major point, I have to thank my customers on this point because we have been consecutively winning the award for being the leaders of the SMB market based on the G2 crowd reviewing sites that have been giving us the badges. We have been named for our quality of choice as well as the best support that we have been providing our customers for the 24x7. Now, said that on the other side, some of our global brands who've been using our software till date have to be marked here. So apart from what you see, we do have a lot of other brands which is globally recognized to be using our software till date. Now, since we have spoken about Vembu Technologies, we'll talk about their portfolio on spot. So the BDRSuite is one of the software of, I can call it as self-hosted backup and disaster recovery software, which could be installed on your virtual, your physical, your cloud instances as well. And we also have a Docker image to support your backup environments. And saying that on the other side, this is a comprehensive backup solution with this software, I would say you will be able to take a backup of your complete IT environment that includes your virtual, physical, and much more. I can talk about that in the later stage. And you also get an option to store your data in your desired storage. That could be your block storage, which could be on your on-prem, or could be your object storage that you put it on cloud of your own choice. So saying that, this is about the BDRSuite on a high level. On the other hand, I do have the BDR Cloud, which is a cloud-hosted server of BDRSuite, as the name suggests. And again, this cloud, you'll be trying to directly store your data in the object storage. That could be your own cloud storage or even us. And again, you'll be trying to take a backup of your diverse IT environment with the BDR Cloud. And we also have this in a comprehensive backup solution way, where you'll be able to monitor and manage things from one single web-based console. So, as I said, this is completely a centralized console. On the other hand, when I have marked about saying a comprehensive solution, so with this solution, you'll be trying to take a backup of your multiple workloads or diverse IT environment, which I mentioned. That could be your virtual, your physical, your endpoints, your file shares, your applications, your SaaS applications, your cloud workloads, and the databases. So literally you have both an image level backup, a VM level backup, and a file or folder level backup, along with granular backup of your databases as well. So, and even your SaaS application, a cloud-based backup. So this has been provided by us. And to the mark, today we are going to discuss about the Proxmox backup that you can see under the virtual environment. Lately, I would say like recently, for example, a couple of months before, after VMware has raised its prices, I could see a lot of people shifting towards Proxmox. So Proxmox, though they have their own backup as your solution, still the third-party backup for Proxmox is gaining its importance in the US market, because people wanted to migrate their backups from VMware to Proxmox, which is on a higher lane of fire. Now, let's discuss about the storage targets that we support for BDRSuite. So as I said, we support block storages. That could be your direct storage or any of your network drives such as NAS or SAN, and even the tape archive from disk to tape is being supported. And when I talk about the public cloud, it could be your own cloud of Amazon S3, Azure Blob, any of your S3 compatibles such as Wasabi, Blackblaze, MinIO, etc., or even your Google Cloud. So all these, you can just put it in one single window, and you can manage to store your data both on-prem as well as on cloud. Now, this is about the BDRSuite on total. Now let's talk about what the key features of Proxmox holds for me. Now on the left side, what you could see, these are the supported platforms of Proxmox. So we support from Proxmox version 7.4 and above, and we support the storage types of NFS, cluster NFS, local directories, LVM, and CFS storage types. And we support the disk types of QCOW2 formats. All these are supported for Proxmox environment. And note the point, we are also going to support cluster-based Proxmox environment. So this cluster base is in our final phase of testing, and the beta build is ready. So you will be having this beta build in a couple of weeks from now. And that said, that on the other side, I have what all we do in this Proxmox. So we support instant boot to Proxmox. So if at all you wanted to restore your machines within 15 minutes, a Proxmox level instant boot is supported. And we support the cross-platform recovery, where like all your VMware or Hyper-V virtual machines, you can instantly boot it up on Proxmox. Or if you wanted to have a complete crossover, you can also perform that with our solution. And the BDRSuite also supports the offsite DR for all your Proxmox backups, along with automated data integrity check that could be scheduled as per your relevance of interest. So these are the key features of Proxmox that we support through our BDRSuite backup solution. Now, further to that, I have multiple key features because the major feature that I would say is we have our own patented file system that would perform faster restores and also store the data in our own file format. So without the product of Vembu, no one can restore your data. So that is adding a greater level of security to the data that you're trying to take a backup, because we already have this compression and end-to-end encryption along with that. And all these virtual environment backup, we support agentless VM level backup. So even the Proxmox holds the agentless VM level backup, and the RPO that we keep for all your virtual environment backup is from every 15 minutes. Whereas we have some of the RTO features through our instant boot and disk mount options, you can ensure a RTO less than 15 minutes. Along with your granular level of recovery at a file of folder level. So all these said and go, now I believe it is a time to jump into the console of BDRSuite to just give you an overall view of what I have. Okay, I believe everyone are able to see the screen. Said this is my BDRSuite console. Again, this is a web-based console because I have my backup server or installed a couple of miles away from me, and I'm just able to take the console of it through my web browser, putting the IP address or the DNS name of the backup server host with a 6060 port number will lead me to this console. Now I'm going to log in with a default username and password like admin and admin, which can be changed during your installation process. Now let's first talk about the repository. As I said, the block storage is your on-prem storages, and object storage is all your cloud storages that you can add to this backup storage repository. And if at all you wanted to start on with, you can just start with a getting started guide that gives you a comprehensive view of what should be done at each phases. So after I set my backup repository, my step 2 is to add my data sources to the backup server. So if I wanted to do that, this is my hypervisor servers and endpoints tab. Just click on it, go to data sources, go to hypervisors. So here you could read like agentless VM backup is my option. So just go to Proxmox Virtual Environment. So with this Proxmox Virtual Environment, I'm just going to add my Proxmox VE. Either I can do that by downloading the agent manually and installing it on the Proxmox host, or I can just push the agent automatically from here. Now everyone gets a confusion since I said agentless backup. Then why is the need that I need to push an agent? My dear fellow men, I said it is agentless VM level backup. So you don't have to install any agent within the virtual machines that you're running on Proxmox, but on the host you will be pushing an agent. So that is what we do. Either you can choose with automatic or manual process. This is basically for standalone hosts of Proxmox. And for cluster, you'll be installing the agent manually on all the nodes of the cluster setup. Now, once I add my Proxmox host, this is my standalone host, and this is my cluster host. Immediately, I can just go to the backup part, click on Configure Backup, Virtual Machines, and click on Proxmox VE. So this is something that I'm going to configure the backup for, where I can just give a backup job name of my choice. And I can choose which storage I want to store my data to. It could be either on the block storage or object storage. And on block storage, I can decide which repository I want to store my data. Now set that, on the next page, here is a Proxmox listed. So since I've added both my cluster as well as my standalone host, it gives me the option to choose crossly against the host. So when it gets loaded, I also have the other cluster to be open. So since my host is there, here's my VM that runs, and the whichever is running will be shown in the blue color, which is not running will be in a neutral mode. And this is my cluster, so 2 of my cluster hosts are also added, which I can select crossly against hosts and add it for my backup purpose. Now here you could see what details that you have added. Now on the schedule part, as I said, like you have multiple options. You can run from every 15 minutes. That's the minimum time period by option. So every 15 minutes that I can run, or I can run it on a hourly basis or weekly basis, like daily basis. So within 24 hours, I can choose up to 5 times that I can run my backup with a different set of timestamps. And next is your weekly backups, monthly backups, or even a particular backup job. If you want to run a backup, it can be done. And manually also you can trigger the backups. And one-time backup is mostly for your purpose, where all the initial backups will be a full backup and you will be running your forever incrementals after that. So automatically at every time of this particular time slot that you have selected, it'll be an incremental backup apart from the full backup. And if you need any full backups, you can configure your full backups with the options from additional full backup or moving to synthetic full backup. On the next stage is your retention process. So this is more flexible, where you can decide how many deposits of backups you want to hold within your storage repository. That could be your basic retention based on the versions, or it could be on the teams of days. And you also provide GFS type of retention for both your full backups as well as your incremental backups. Now, encryption. If you wanted to add a password over the encrypted data, you can just enable this option. You can go with the system generated password or with a custom password. But make sure if you're going to give a custom password, you shouldn't forget your password, because without the password, you can't restore your data, delete your backup job, or edit your backup job without a password. So on the next page is your summary page. Here you can check what all the details that you're given for configuration. All these have been listed here, most like a summary page. And if I want to run this backup job immediately, I can just run it using this option, selecting this checkbox and save it. Otherwise, we'll be running at 9 p.m. at sharp. So with this time, as I said, the initial backup will be a full backup followed by its incremental. So once your backup is being scheduled, you will be navigated to this particular page called as list backup job page. So here you could see I have my Proxmox machines configured for backup. Now this is what your backups do, and once your backup is done, you can check on the reports on the alongside, knowing what VMs you have taken a backup. So here's a compression ratio size also could be seen, and here you see 7.7 GB of data size has been compressed to 4.86 GB. And this is your other one is your incremental backup. So all these that you can check. And next, immediately, we'll be talking about the recovery options that we hold for Proxmox. So just go to Recovery tab under the Hypervisor Servers and Endpoints. Just navigate to Recovery tab, click on it, click to Restore Backup Data. So when you click to Restore Backup Data, you have the original size as well as the compressed size view that you can check on it. and then you can click to restore the data. So when I click on restore, I have these options that is being shown here. Like I can instantly boot that particular Proxmox VM either on a targeted hypervisor of VMware, or I can just put it on Hyper-V if my backup server is enabled with a Hyper-V role, or I can just add it up to a targeted hypervisor of Proxmox. So this can be done. And this is the same vice versa. Like if you have taken a backup of your VMware virtual machine, you can target the hypervisor to be your Proxmox and boot it up as a VM instantly. So that is also an option that soon will be dropped. And next, you can review and just mount it. So instantly within a particular time period, like within less than 15 minutes, you'll be able to boot that data as a virtual machine, ready state virtual machine. And full VM recovery is going to be your permanent restore option. So that is like completely moving a virtual machine from one Proxmox host to another Proxmox host permanently. And then, as I said, the disk mount. The disks of this virtual machine will be mounted to your backup server, and this will be enabled only for Windows machines. If your backup server is hosted on a Windows machine, you can just mount the particular disk of the VMs to this to the disk management service of your Windows backup server. On the next hand, I have the download disk, which allows me to restore the data, the Proxmox virtual machine that I've taken a backup, into multiple file formats. So as you could see, I can select a format. Either I can download it as a VHT or VHDX and boot it on my Microsoft environment, or I can download it as VMDK and flat VMDK and use it on my VMware environment, or I can even download it in a raw format to be booted on a KVM or Proxmox or even an overit environment or any environment of your choice, because it's more like in raw data. And apart from this, we have the granular recovery option, which we simply call it as a file level recovery. So any particular timestamp that you could choose, and you can restore a particular file or folder from the completely added disks of the Proxmox. So here you can choose what file you want to restore by selecting the file or folder and choosing a destination where you want to put it up. So the destination is going to be on your backup server end, and you can restore it. And if you want, you can even compress it, where you can download it in a zip file format with a password. So all these adds to your restore option. So literally when you see Proxmox support is something that every competitor in the market is working on, but we literally have started to master the backups for Proxmox. And now we have landed up in the cluster support for Proxmox as well. So saying that, well, I could even discuss about the licensing option. So for licensing of Proxmox, we support both subscription-based licenses as well as perpetual-based licenses, and there's no any minimum cap that is going to hold you up. So it can be anything, even one particular VM you want to take a backup, you can just buy the license for one particular VM. So there's no license for your BDRSuite installation. It's only for the entity that you're trying to take a backup. So in this case, we'll be trying to take a backup of your Proxmox VM. Either you can buy it up at a physical CPU socket level, or you can just go with a VM level pricing for your Proxmox VMs. And once done, my dear friends, you also have a backup job report that gives you a complete intuitive reporting on all the details that has been configured. So you can even check the restore options, which you can even download it in a CSV file format for your internal audit purposes, or you can even enable the email notifications for you to knock your doorsteps when required by configuring the SMTP settings. So apart from this, we also have the audit logs, so you can check up on the audit details, and data integrity check is also being loaded. but I don't have any as of now. But you can, as I said, this is where the data will be mounted, booted, and the boot screen will be taken a snap and sent to you, or either on the report section or by downloading it. And you also have the RMM tool integration like ConnectWise, which you can use it to check it on boards for the details. So we're just coming to a little end of the webinar. I just wanted to host things in a clear manner. As I said, the Proxmox is something that we have with a detailed master of taking a backup by providing multiple restore options, as you were seeing before, and all these are there as of now. The cluster support for Proxmox will also be available mostly by by the next week. That is, the beta build for Proxmox cluster will be available. But now the production build of version 7.1.2 has the detail already. So if you wanted to check on the BDRSuite, all that you need to do is just log into our website, where you can check upon what all the details that we provide for Proxmox with a complete suite of introduction over here, which you will have. So in this website, BDRSuite.com, maybe like you could see it, where you have the details. Just go to products, click on agentless VM backup. You have the Proxmox as a section there. You have a small introduction video for that, which you can see it. You can also check that how the Proxmox VMs are configured from the details that has been provided. And we have the supported platforms here that gives you what all the details that we support. And here is how the Proxmox backup works. You have the agentless Proxmox backup, then the checkpoint creation, secure data transfer, then incremental steps, retention and management, and the recoveries. So this is a step-by-step procedure that gives you on detail that everything is being covered in this section. Okay, this is for your reading purpose. Now, to download the software, you can just go to the start free trial option, or you can download the Windows build, and you can enjoy this feature from our website. So you have the 30 days of free trial that gives you a complete walkthrough of how things work. And again, you have some of the videos to install the software on your site. Okay, so all this said and done, this is how your Proxmox virtual machines backup works with the BDRSuite. A small introduction that I just wanted to give you on sort. I hope I have made this session clear about the backup part for the Proxmox and even the recovery part for the Proxmox. And if at all you people have any doubts, you can just raise your questions in the QA session that you have, and my team is able to answer those questions on spot. I believe people are answering it, and I'll give it a couple of minutes for you to load things up in this session. But before that, I just wanted to thank each and everyone for joining this session and making it more successive, because we have provided you with all your support. We were able to provide you with a good stable software, and now the feature of Proxmox is also being loading up, and there are multiple more features that is loaded up in our roadmap, which will be coming one by one. So stay tuned always to BDRSuite.com and even into our social media handles. So that gives you an update of all our new features and bug fixes, as well as enhancements that we are making. So the digital world is changing, my dear friends. We have a lot of AI playing a major role. Now we are also started to work with AI to integrate some of the basic things which AI can help you with. So thank you once again, people, for joining in the session. Now the QA box is all open for you. If you have any doubts, you can just post it up in the QA. Well, I see a lot of questions that has been coming up, and there are some encouragements that is also thanking us for the presentation. Thank you so much, people. And there's one thing about describe ransomware protection capabilities. How does it work? So, people, let me position things in a more detailed manner. Like for this case, I just wanted to go back to my presentation. So, yeah, here you have the recent defense against ransomware. Let me tell you, ransomware threat, it can't be predicted in before until unless we are affected. So what we have as a backup solution, what we have done is we provide you options to secure your data, like through having multiple copies. As said, that is what you have as 3-2-1 backup policy, where you can have 3 copies of your data to be stored in 2 different storage medium and 1 copy to your offsite copy. So when you take for your virtual environments, either that could be a VMware, Hyper-V, Proxmox, Overit, or KVM, you will have this 3-1 backup policy rule applied. And we also have immutable backup storage support. So as I said, your cloud storages of S3 and S3 compatible, you can enable this immutability where it ensures to provide a warm backup. So warm backup is nothing but WORM, W for write and O for once. So it is write once, read many is a backup option. So there won't be any override, but instead you will have different procedures to be followed for that immutable type of backup that you're going to have. And we also support this air gap backup, which is nothing but an offline licenses that we provide. And a pre or post backup scripts is something that we also have made it available. Generally not for Proxmox, but we have it for other virtual environments where you can scan your data using a script previously before taking a backup, and even after taking a backup you can again scan your backup data with the local antivirus that you're using. And we are also working on this anomaly detection. So anomaly detection is something that will be coming up in the next stage, but as of now you have all these other 4 to 5 features that I said. And moreover, again, I'm stressing upon our data, whatever that you're going to take a backup, is in the form of chunks, and it will be stored in our own file format. So without the product of Vembu, no one can restore your data or read through what data that you have taken a backup. So that is the high level of the strong file system that we hold. Yeah, I believe I've answered most of the questions. So thank you so much, people. As I said, you have the 30 days of free trial. You can just reach out to us, and you can always contact our support and sales anytime for much of a detail. And if you want a one-on-one demo, you can just go to your website. I can show you the website again. So you can just go to our website where you can contact us for demo purpose or any of like one-on-one purpose or any trial related stuffs or pricing related stuffs. You can reach out to us. So we are happy to help you at any point of time. You can always stay tuned to our website to have the recent updates in your hand about the BDRSuite. Thank you so much once again. I see a lot of questions popping up, but as I said, the time is up, people. So you can just post your questions. Those questions which we haven't answered now will be coming up later through an email. So we'll just send it through an email for all your questions that you have raised, and we'll make sure that everything is kept aside for you. So this recording will be posted in our website or like within 48 hours. Within 48 hours, we'll post a recording in our website, and even along with the presentation. So you can even download the presentation from there. Thank you so much once again, ladies and gentlemen, for joining this session on a backup of Proxmox. Thank you once again, and stay tuned. Bye-bye.